You're charged with making a false report to a police officer.
The defendant became upset and stated she was going to call the defendant's probation officer and say what she needed to say to get his probation revoked. And the defendant stated, "I will kill you."
You need to make the right decisions before you do something.
Welcome to Bench Report Court Cam.
Are you Sher Johnson? Ms. Johnson, you're charged with making a false report to a police officer. You are facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, man.
Yes, Judge. On January 19th, 2025, at approximately 1:56 p.m., the officer was dispatched to a child custody dispute at a residence in Harris County, Texas. The officer made contact with the defendant's husband, who requested a report be completed because the defendant did not meet him at a scheduled time and location. The officer made contact with the defendant at 4:45 p.m. via the phone, and the defendant was advised about the husband's request for report. The defendant became upset and stated she was going to call the defendant's probation officer and say what she needed to say to get his probation revoked and serve 2 to 10 years in prison. The defendant stated she had video footage of the husband assaulting her last month on the phone, and she was going to call and have a deputy come to the residence to pursue charges because he completed the report. At approximately 5:37 p.m., the defendant made a family assault call, and the call slip stated, "See reportee," in reference to husband cussing and pushed reportee. The officer, who had previously contacted the defendant, arrived at the family assault call at approximately 6:02 p.m. and made contact with the defendant. The defendant stated the husband pushed her on 2 separate occasions in January 2025, and the defendant then stated the husband did not punch or push her, he merely brushed against her and admitted it was not intentional. The officer asked to see the video the defendant stated she had. The defendant denied making that statement, and the defendant then admitted to making the statement and stated she did not have a video, but the daughter was present. The defendant stated she did not feel pain, did not have visible injuries, and wanted to pursue charges. The defendant then attempted to change statements again, stating she never made a call for service. The officer read the call slip, and the defendant stated dispatch did not hear her correctly, and that was not what she meant to say. The defendant further denied making a statement regarding the husband's probation. The officer replayed a body-worn camera video of the defendant's statement while on the phone, and the defendant admitted she was not telling the truth.
All right, ma'am, I'm going to find if there's probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to have any contact with the complaining witness in this case. Do you understand? That is the gentleman in this case. If I find that you have contact with this person, I'm going to revoke your bond. Look, I can provide you a lawyer today. You can explain your side to the lawyer, but I've got a bunch of DAs here. Anything you say, they're going to try to use it against you to prove guilt. Just don't. I will give you a lawyer. Just explain your side to the lawyer, and then they can go talk to the DAs on your behalf. But I don't want you to say something where you put your proverbial foot in your mouth, you know? Don't. Just. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you sign a receipt of Victoria. I will have you then take a seat in the jury box. I'm going to find you a lawyer, and then you can explain your side to the lawyer. Okay? Let me see one thing real quick. I need you to fill an application for me, though. Do you mind? She's going to give you an application. I need you to fill it out, and then I'll have you talk to someone here momentarily. No. Please. Can you follow those conditions, please?
Yes,
no
Judge.
Contact and no one.
Yes, Judge.
If you pick up a 4th case, holy moly, I'm going to absolutely lose it. Do you understand? I want my community safe. When you're out there, you need to make the right decisions before you do something. Think, if I do this, what's going to happen? If I say this, what's going to happen? And if it could lead to a bad result, then don't do it. Do you understand? Can you run his license to see, does he have a valid?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. You're not allowed to drive unless you have liability insurance as well. Do you understand? If you don't have car insurance, you cannot drive as well at all until you have a license and car insurance. Do you understand? Okay. Do we have any conditions, on the terroristic threat?
I got assigned to him. He was already back.
Correct.
So I don't know if there was anything in the previous case. I know one of them is against the brother. My understanding is, I think
So I guess tell me about it, Alex, please, on both terroristic threats. Who are they?
Terroristic threats? Yes, Judge. So on the first terroristic threat, the complainant and the defendant are brothers. Dispatched to a residence in regard to a family disturbance. The defendant was removing the complainant's belongings from the residence and putting them in the back of his own vehicle to prevent the complainant from getting his things. The complainant tried to remove his things from the vehicle, and the defendant stated, "I will kill you." The complainant was in fear for his life when the defendant said this, and the defendant also later texted the complainant that if he touched his things again, he would cause him severe pain.
This is the second one.
And the second terroristic threat occurred on October 26, 2024, when the officer was dispatched to a Crunch Fitness. The officer made contact with the complainant, a manager at the gym, who stated the defendant was involved in verbal and physical altercations with other members of the gym, and multiple complaints were filed. The complainant stated the defendant's membership was canceled due to issues with other members and the defendant making threats. The defendant then continued to act aggressively after finding out this information and caused a disturbance by screaming and cursing loudly. The complainant told the defendant he needed to leave and not return. The defendant became more agitated, left the business, returned multiple times, and when the complainant stepped out with the defendant and told the defendant not to return, the defendant responded multiple times he was going to come back to the business and kill the complainant.
okay, Judge, I would argue on that one. I'm gonna come back. I don't see an immediate threat or anything like that, any brandishing of anything or.
You're on. It's the going to that we
They say, repeat what the threat was again.
he responded multiple times he was going to come back to the business and kill the complainant.
I'm gonna come back, you know. I think that there's enough to go forward. Don't go back to these places. I don't want you to have contact with either of the complaining witnesses. Do you understand? I'm going to have you sign these bond conditions. Make better decisions when you're out there, Mr. Jenkins. At some point, someone is going to stop bonding you out, and you will be stuck like Chuck in there until these things are over with, and it's going to be a long time. Do you understand? You've asked me to give you a different lawyer. This isn't Burger King where you get your way. I will not give you another one. If you're unable to get along with Mr. Perez, then probably not him. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
He may tell you things just because you don't like it. It doesn't give you a cause to complain and I don't like this person. No, he's going to give it to you. I've worked with him for many, many years. I trust him. He does a good job. That's why we gave him to you. You understand? Okay. So we'll have you sign these bond conditions, and after that, you'll be free to go. So he was not, I guess, having a good time with the prior lawyer.
Sure.
So,
I've spoken with his mom already over the weekend.
okay.
We had a really good talk about what was going on. I didn't know she was gonna bond him out as soon as she did, so we're about to go have a talk at the back of the house.
My guess is, though, is that if it's mom, she's not going to continue to do it because every time she bonds you out, all you're doing is you're giving free money to bonding companies. When you pick up new cases, all you're doing is you're giving money away. And I'm sure your mom doesn't have unlimited funds to just keep putting money away. Get a clue. What do you do for a living?
I worked for Uber because the job I was doing,
No, I just want to know, are you fully employed?
no, at the moment.
You need to get a job. You have too much time on your hands and you become self-destructive.
It's hard to get a job because of my record.
Just listen to it.
Sher Johnson.
I should tell you something. Do you think it gets easier in life? No. You don't even have convictions and it's hard for you to find a job. How hard do you think it's going to be if they end up in convictions? Do you see my point?
So,
Make better decisions. 95% people are in there because no self-control. All right, Matt.
And Your Honor, on both the terroristic threat cases, there are previous conditions from.
Yeah, I will just have them sign those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Judge.
So Matt, these are state's bond conditions, so they've already been filed. All he needs to do is sign them.
Thanks for watching. Stick around longer and click the highlighted videos to your right. See you there.